Salve to discipuli ego sum magistra buddy, and this is the stage 23 lesson on participles, which is thankfully mostly a review. So what is a participle? A participle is a verbal adjective. It is a verb that is made into an adjective. Just like adjectives, participles match their antecedents in case, number, and gender. You will always translate a participle with an ing. Now that ing may show up in a couple of different places, but there should always be some form of an ing in there. We've got three different types of participles. In stage 20, we first learned the present active participle. It starts from the second principal part. Most of the forms have an nt plus your third declension adjective endings, and you simply translate it as ing, so running or jumping. Next, in stage 21, we learned the perfect passive participle. It's simply the fourth principal part, and it uses the 1-2 adjective endings. You translate it as having been verbed. And then in stage 22, we learned the perfect active participle. It is the third principal part of deponent verbs. Don't worry, that term is not going to be very familiar yet. For now, they just look like 1-2 adjectives, and you translated them as having verbed. All right, so here's what the present active participles look like. These are all different verbs. We've got 5 different examples here. These use our third declension adjective endings. So we've got nominative singulars all across here. So these are all the nominative singulars. That's our odd box. And then the rest are the third declension adjective endings. Notice how there's an NT on most of the forms, which should be a nice visual indicator that you are looking at a present participle. The perfect passive, like I said earlier, comes from the fourth principal part right here, and then you just turn this into a 1-2 adjective. So this is all one verb. This is not a bunch of different verbs like in the previous slide. So we've got all the masculine forms, all the feminine forms, and all of the neuter forms. And then we have the perfect active participles. This is a deponent verb, meaning it is passive in form but active in meaning. Right now, this is the only piece of it that pertains to us. And like I said earlier, these will just look like 1-2 adjectives for the time being. So we've got our masculine form, our feminine form, our neuter form. Here's a list of all of the perfect active participles we've seen so far. Some of them we haven't officially learned, as in they're not part of our vocab list, but in stage 22, we saw all of these in the stories. In stage 23, here are 2 new ones. Active versus passive. All right, so in an active participle, the antecedent is doing the action. But in a passive participle, the antecedent is receiving the action. Key difference. All right, copy down these 8 sentences. Underline the modifiers and draw arrows to their antecedents. Put parentheses around your prep phrases. Label all your verbs accordingly, and all remaining nouns accordingly. All right, discipuli, let's look at the first sentence. Rex in media turba sedanes principe salutavit. So this is our participle, and we know that it is going to the king because sedanes is nominative singular, rex is nominative singular. So the king, sitting in the middle of the crowd, greeted the chiefs. Libertus in cubiculum regressus memorum executare temptavit. This is our participle. This is a prep phrase. We know that this participle is going with this noun because they are both nominative singular and masculine, making this our subject, direct object, complementary infinitive, and a verb. So the freedman, returning into the bedroom, tried to wake up Memor. Wilbia fibulam a modesto datam rubriae ostendit. Okay, we know that datam is going with fibulam because they are both accusative, singular, and feminine. Wilbia, nominative, so that's our subject. Accusative, so that's our direct object. A modesto is a prep phrase. Rubriae is dative, so it's our indirect object. Ostendit is our verb. Wilbia showed the brooch to Rubria, having been given by Modestus. We could do that another way. It might sound a little bit better if we say Wilbia showed the brooch having been given by Modestus to Rubria. Sacerdotes deam percati agadam sacrifica verent. We know that percati is going with sacerdotes because They are both nominative, plural, masculine. Sacerdotes is our subject. Deam is a direct object. Agnam is also a direct object. Sacrificaverent is our verb. Now we've got two direct objects here, but they are not going to be connected by an and. There is no and there. This is the direct object of the participle. This is the direct object of the main verb. So it reads, the priests, having prayed to the goddess, sacrificed a lamb. Sorores in taberna laborantes militem conspexerunt. We know that laborantes is going with sorores because they are both nominative, plural, feminine. This is our subject. This is a prep phrase. Militem, this is accusative, so it's our direct object. And we've got our verb. So the sisters working in the shop caught sight of a soldier. Templum a Romanis adificatum prope fontem sacrum erat. So I set aside my prep phrases, a Romanis, prope fontem sacrum. Sacrum is an adjective modifying fontem. That's how I knew that all three of these go together. Edificatum is modifying templum because they are both nominative, singular, and neuter. Since this is nominative, it's our subject, and we've got a linking verb left here. So the temple, having been built by the Romans, was near the sacred fountain. Fur res infantem injectas quaesivit. Okay, infantem is a prep phrase, so I set it aside in parentheses. Injectas is a participle going with res, and we know that because they are both accusative, singular, feminine. So the thief looked for the things lying in the fountain. Nonulae anculae ad domina incitatai cubiculum paraverent. I set this aside because it's a prep phrase. This is our participle. We know that it's going with onculi because they are both nominative, plural, and feminine. This is an adjective modifying onculi. So several slave girls, having been encouraged by the mistress, prepared the bedroom. So remember, participles are verbs acting as adjectives. They describe a noun. They match their antecedents in case, number, and gender. Vale te discipuli.